Welcome to Mastering Innovation Together with Kevin Mobley of Annabelle Mac and Cheese and Chris Koomey of Thorbend Consulting. And Kevin, we're talking about the innovations that you've been putting in place to allow people to have healthier opportunities for food and just think more locally about the opportunities. So where do you see this going? The farm to table has been happening a lot over the last 20 years. How do you see it progressing over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, well, one is hard, and it's very hard because farmers don't have the kind of distribution systems that big ag has. Reliability and being able to get consumers used to having something unavailable. I mean, there's a lot of issues there. I will jokingly tell people what's old is new again. When I give people the quick pitch on what we do, hey, we got this. We get our dairy from Working Cow Dairy down in Slocum, Alabama. It's non-GMO, grass-fed organic. The noodles organic from Italy, and the cheddar's from England. Sometimes I'll get customers that'll look at me and they kind of sarcastically say, "Did your great grandmother have all that?" And then I'll say, "Well, my great grandmother's cow was next door. I happen to live in Midtown Atlanta. They're not interested in me running a dairy farm in the city. We don't grow wheat at scale the way in today's time the way they did in her time, but they still do in Italy. It much closer mimics the wheat of her time. And then, of course, she used aged cheddar. By the time I get to that point in the story, there's a little bit of embarrassment, usually on the person's behalf, because they think that I'm saying all that just to inflate why the products cost what it does, or it's this gourmet product and what have you. And it's not. It's because I'm talking about the importance of having the provenance of a product, and that the sources of that milk and cream make a huge difference, not just in the taste of the product, but it makes a huge difference in the quality and the way you feel after the fact. A lot of people will tell me they're lactose intolerant, they've got gluten issues, and I can't say we solve all of that in our product, but I can say that most people will say when they eat it, they don't feel as bad as when they eat other stuff. And
that's one of the amazing things is that we've kind of innovated our food to start killing us, whereas the European wheat is a totally different thing than what we eat here. And same with, cheese is different, and all the pieces are different because they're putting in place some things to keep us healthy.
Yeah, Chris, I in a sad way, I'll say that the wealthiest in our country eat about as well as the poor people in many other countries. As I travel to places and I see grass-fed animals running all over the Serengeti in Tanzania, or I'm down in Colombia eating street food and everything's organic and they don't even have to go to a specialty store for it. It just reminds me once again that we spend a fortune to have what most people around the country already have. And that's why I encourage people in these countries, when they start talking about wanting to have the kind of reliability we have in our food systems, I said the innovation that you need is to leapfrog us, because we're trying to get there. We're trying to both embrace the ability to have reliability and have to be able to go to the store and always have a thing. And at the same time, how do we do that thing in a healthier, more less destructive way to the earth and less destructive way to ourselves? And we haven't figured that problem out. And I'm not telling you I've figured it out, but I am saying that what we do with Annabelle is to me is part of that whole movement more towards, there's a term out there called regenerative farming, which is the idea of creating a closed loop ecosystem. And I look at how we tap into the food system is more in line with that than, say, if I just went over to a big box restaurant supply shop and just picked up some milk, whatever milk and cream they were selling and whatever cheese they were selling, whatever noodles they were, and whatever was the cheapest, and threw it together and called it mac and cheese.
So with your growth, so you started off small batch, now you're growing. So how are you dealing with some of those challenges that are presented by the growth?
They're huge. I mean, our first biggest problem is capital. We need a lot more capital in our business so that we can add a lot more equipment in our business, so we can add a lot more automation in our business. I have this idea of sort of 5X strategy, that we should be able to grow up or down by 5X without changing staff. And that solves a lot of problems. One, it creates some stability in the business. It allows us to grow without running out to find new people, just to respond to an opportunity. But it also allows us to have the kind of resiliency that if something happens, which happens in business all the time, and we, contracts get pulled, we're not laying folks off. And then for me, it hits at something else that's important to me, which is that we're able to change the economic incentives in our business, so that the food system has notoriously been awful. I know a little bit about the U.S. history around food. As an African American, I tell people we were the cooks in this country, and in the '70s, we faded out of that movement. And today we're not very involved in most of the restaurants and high end restaurants and store and food systems around the country, which is sad because we were very involved in it for most of the country's history. But part of that issue was that the pay sucked, and the pay has sucked even.
Lifestyle too.
Yeah, lifestyle is hard, and the money was not there. And so one of my goals is to be able to improve, the overall economic opportunity for our staff. And the way to be able to do that is to create some stability. And that means adding in equipment and using it smartly. So it's a combination of using, equipment and automation for the dirty work, and at the same time being able to put people to work in places where they make good money, and it's a job that they're happy to have for 20 or 30 years.
And that's a challenge in any business, but particularly when it's producing the same thing every day. So how do you help keep it fresh for them?
Yeah, and I haven't solved that. And to be honest with you, I'm more right now fixated on the problems I've got today, which is capital, which is bringing in equipment. And then as far as how do we keep it varied and interesting, I mean that's a problem that I'll have to solve in the future.
Yeah. And then it gets into kind of the innovation of letting people know about Annabelle's mac and cheese.
Mhm.
And there's certainly been a lot of innovation related to internet marketing. So what are some of the things that you've tried there that you're looking to grow into as far as raising awareness and increasing transactions online?
Yeah, this is again where when you're a small shop, you're a jack of all trades. The best thing I ever did was hire an outside marketing company to help me at least professionalize our look, in retail. But in terms of what we do online, we leverage social media a lot. I do a lot of first person stories. I believe that customers should be the one talking about your product, not me. So I don't tell a lot. I don't personally get online and talk about how great my product is much. I let customers do it. And so we capture those stories and we retell those stories through, Instagram, mostly a little bit on TikTok and a little bit on Facebook. And then, my goal is to continue to leverage that a lot more and more and more. And then as we get more capital is to be able to bring on someone who can, just like we've done with our packaging, professionalize that. I want to professionalize how those stories are retold.
Yeah. And part of it is, people do get excited after they have a bite and
Mhm.
they do change, and to see them smile and say, this is the best mac and cheese I've ever had. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. It is. As an entrepreneur, there's nothing that makes you more excited than to see your thing, your baby being loved. Whether you're writing a piece of code and it's the hottest game on the planet, or you've designed this beautiful car and everybody wants it, or you created this product that people can't wait to bite.
Yeah, and it's taking your passion and sharing that with the world, and you're getting it back with you. So that's a pretty good feeling.
Yep, absolutely.
So Kevin Mobley, thank you for mastering innovation together with us today. Thank you for mastering innovation together today with Thorben Consulting. This is Chris Koomey. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy the show, if you have any comments, questions, or just want to learn more about what we do. Thanks for joining us.